I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator from Australia, and today I'm coming to you from my creative space to show you how to make this card using our sweet strawberry bundle that you'll find on page 43 of the 21 to 22 annual catalogue. Okay, so let's get started. So we've got our sweet strawberry bundle. You'll find that on page 43. I've actually already pulled off the stamps that I will need. I've got my punch, I'll get that ready. And I've got all my goodies here. So everything's cut and prepared. Let's put them aside to do them as I need them. Let's start with our card base. I haven't scored this one, I don't know why. I do like to score them. I love the score tool on the new trimmer. I still call it a new trimmer. I think I'll always call it a new trimmer. So these bits need stamping, and so does my envelope, so does this piece here. Okay, so I've got an A5 card base. That's done in real red. I've got a basic white piece, which is 5.5 centimeters by 8.5 centimeters. And that's going to get mounted onto a black piece, like so. That black piece is 5.9 by 8.9 centimeters. I've got two pieces of the Expressions in Ink Designer Series paper. I've got this piece here, which is that pretty one on the back, but I actually want the green, I love it, the alcohol-y blending sort of piece. And these lovely gold stripes, aren't they cool? And that's the back of that one. Okay, so I've got those that I'm going to turn into a flag. We'll see how I can bodge up a flag. They're a bit too big for our punch, but that's right. And then I've got, this is my card inside, like my card inside, which I have on all of them. It's approximately 10 centimeters by 14.5 centimeters. So it just gives a bit of a nice border around it. And then I've got, you can either use scraps or you can cut a piece to suit. I've cut a piece that, this one's 21 by 8 centimeters. So that's what I'm going to stamp on. I've got my mat that I'm going to use, and I'll actually pop it underneath my paper to start with, because the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp with Versamark. Okay, please ignore my dirty Versamark pad. So I've got this image from the stamp set, from the Sweet Strawberry stamp set. Bits of fluff and stuff, and I'm just going to go along and I'm just going to stamp some flowers all over the background, or some strawberry flowers and some strawberry leaves. Now, I did tell my mum that I was actually going to be filming, but now she's decided that she's going to print stuff. I suppose it's better than the other day when she did it at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, that will only be a minute before it's disappeared. I'm not sure if you can see it, but can you see that? Okay, if you want it to you can use some extra little flowers. If you want to just fill in some of the gaps, you can. And I think I've done something funny here in my wisdom. There's a bit of a gap over here because it didn't stamp very well, so I'm just going to stick a flower there. This little guy, oh no, I've done it right. But, yep, okay. I was thinking that this was the one that gets punched out, but it's a bigger flower, so that you'll notice on the stamp set, there's actually two flowers. The bigger flower doesn't get punched out with the punch, but the smaller flower does. Okay. Now there is a trick that you can do with your punches, especially these multiple punches. And I've already done it with this one, so that I've actually got my stamp set up to stamp in the right spot. So what I've done here is I've actually punched it out, and then I've I'll show it to you when I finish, but I've literally sat my stamped images into it, my stamps into it, so, and then stuck them on the block, so that every time because this is going to be a memento, So I want to be able to punch them all at one go, just to make it so that it's not messy, for want of a better word. Now, I'm right-handed. I punch upside down, and I like to shove my pieces of cardstock in that way, which means that strawberry has to get punched down on the bottom. So make sure that you do, because it would be really hard if I punched it this way. That way is okay, but getting the middle one out would not be fun. So this is it. I essentially need 3 strawberries. So that's what I'm going to do here. Ink on me. Because I want to be able to do them all in one go, I think my memento needs more ink on it. It's a bit bodgy and a bit dry in the middle. But this card will still look good. Yeah, I think I need to get the re-inker out. That looks good. Okie dokie. Now, I am going to end up needing to pull apart my stamp. So I'll do that now. Because I need some leaves. Because then I can show you how I put it together. So because I'm going to do all the memento in one go. On my sentiment piece, which says, "Happy birthday, you sweet thing." Oh. Okay. Hold your tongue right. I like to use the lines on my paper for this to see if I can get a straight line. It's lucky that pieces of paper have 2 sides. Now you will notice there's a bit of a lip, but I'll show you how I fix that. Just from my trimmer, because I cut more than one piece at the same time. So I just run my bone folder very gently over the top. And you'll notice that they've disappeared. And I put finger marks all over it. But, you know, things breaks. Okay. I do a lot of my crafting standing up. And I get things straight when I stand up. So, and when I have my piece of paper straight. Not bad. Not real 100% crash hot, but you know, hey, I'm okay with that. Because this little smudge here, no such thing as a bad card, no such thing as anything dodgy, because it's just a reason to embellish. Didn't really want to go off over there, but anyway. Okay. So that's all of my except for my envelope. So we'll pull out. I was going to say that's all my memento, but it's not, because I want to do some leaves. Although I will admit I'm mainly going to do a strawberry on here. Okay. Just give this a clean. I get enough ink everywhere without adding it to my fingers like I just did then. So I want a strawberry for the front. Now you'll notice I didn't do anything on my inside, and there's a reason for that, because I'm going to end up with 3 pieces and I don't need 3 pieces when I do my the front of my card. Okay, so notice, actually can't notice because you couldn't see it was off screen. I've been putting these back all dodgy. So what I can come and do is I can bring this piece in that I punched. Here's one I punched earlier. Okay, now you'll notice that you could just stick it on here onto your punch, but in doing that, it sticks to the punch, and I found it really hard to get off. So these are flat side up. So that I can stick my and that one's not going to work for me. Oopsie. Okay, hopefully I get it right. Stick you in there. They're all jiggled into their perspective spots. Okay. This block, the D block, is bigger in one direction than it is in the other. So now when I come down and stamp, I'll then be able to stick it into my punch. Make sense? Yeah. Okay. They're in the same spot there. I find it very difficult because I need more than one layer. So, but some that don't have bits that go, so if it was just straight, you'd be right, but it's not. So this one's curved. That's why I needed to punch out the template. Okay, so I can put that back over there. Let's colour these babies. So we've got some real red and I've got some granny apple green. Let's do all my leaves. So there's some granny apple green. It's a bummer that one's gone off the page a bit. I really didn't want it to. But that's way too crooked on the other side. Okay, and some granny apple green on my stalks. Okay, did this card recently at one of my classes, and this is my summer card because it just screamed summer to me. Okay, so did I do my envelope? Where's my envelope hiding? No, I didn't. It'll teach me not to keep everything in the same spot. Stamp my envelope. Okay, and let's do our top. Now I bet you can see what's going to happen there. That one up. Some real red. Let's see how juicy are you today. I'm thinking that we might be a bit too juicy. I'll do these guys first just in case. Because it doesn't matter if these ones are really red. The envelope seems to take up the ink so much better. Or not much better, and give you a darker, like a really dark colour. You can stamp them off. You do get quite a light strawberry if you stamp them off. But I do like the texture. See how that's going to cut covered, but if you're worried about a bit that's not really covered, you can bring your blender pen in and Just touch it up a bit. Just be aware that your memento will run with your blender pen. Now, I'm not sure if you could see on the original cards, the inside of them. Oh, oops, she's jumping ahead. She didn't do an envelope. I could hear you all screaming at me. You didn't do the envelope. Okay, so I've got my green watercolor pencil just so that I can make those leaves just a little bit darker. Just so that, well, that was really good of me. Shh, we won't tell anyone. Okay, let's close up the ink so I don't put it anywhere else that it doesn't need to go. Can't see it on my, oh, there it is. Okay, now I'm putting my watercolor pencils and I just put a little bit of watercolor pencil in here just to give these a little bit of color on the inside. If you want to, you can use your blender pen on them, or you can use a little bit of Wink Stella. I'm thinking this one is just about run out. Sounding like it, isn't it? Well, we're not using Wink Stella today. No Wink Stella. Okay, they're staying as is. Alrighty, so by rights, I should be able to, that red on that envelope is going to annoy me now. Send these through here. Hold my tongue correctly, because you all know that you've got to do that. And try and catch them. Not bad if I do say so myself. And let's do the next one. And the last one. Now you could probably be a bit more frugal with your paper. Punch them closer to, like, stamp them closer together and punch them out a bit closer together. Use your scraps to punch the little flowers, run a thin piece through. But I do find with these punches that have got more than one image on them that they have a tendency to cut better if you cut the whole, all 4 images in this case. Okay, so where did they all disappear to? 1, 2, 3, 1 strawberry, 2 strawberries, 3 strawberries. Okay. Put a little bit of adhesive up here. That is for these. You can use a glue dot. You can use your multi-purpose glue, whatever keeps you happy, whatever your favourite adhesive is. I just found that with the other card that I made, I just found this was the easiest way to glue fiddly bits on. You could put it on the back of your leaves, but I seemed to make a dreadful mess and got it everywhere. Okay, so I've ended up with 3 spare leaves and a spare strawberry because I only want 2 strawberries on the front, and I'm going to use probably 1 leaf on the front, but we'll see. So let's move those to the side. Now I've done all the stamping. I'm going to ditch my mat because it's making me feel a bit wobbly. I'm going to use one of these strawberries on the inside of my card, and I might use one of the leaves. There, looks pretty good. There's not a lot of room to move on the outside of the card, like around the outside edge. It's about 1/2 centimetre, so I won't go over too far. A little bit of glue adhesive on the back of that one. Stick it over just a smidge. Because this is going on the inside of my card, it needs to be flat. Okay, and we can actually stick that straight in there before I put any more mess on it. Multi-purpose glue, a little bit goes a long way. I don't know if you've noticed when I'm using it and the lid's off, I lay it on its side so it doesn't all run back away from me. I haven't written on the inside of this card. I actually don't, I do use some of the inside sentiments, but I don't use a lot of them. On this stamp set, the only thing I could probably put in the middle would be just for you to go with it. But that's cool. Okay, move that one back to the side there. I'm going to stick this 2 pieces together. Bye-bye, Mr. Happy Birthday. Okay, you can use whatever type of adhesive that you like for this. Again, hold your tongue straight. Probably should have given that a bit of a chop off there. Here comes Miss Maeve to have a sticky. All right, so that bit's going to go on there. Good morning, Mavelicious. Good morning. All right, snips. Okay, let's see how badly I can do my flag. A wise person once told me that if you do it this way, you have a tendency to get it correct. So snip a little bit into the middle, approximately the center spot, and then snip towards that spot. It's really important you hold your tongue right. I find it easier to snip from the one side rather than the other side. And if I don't say so, if I do say so myself, that's not too bad. Then we can cheat on this one because these pieces are both exactly the same size. They're 6.5 by 11.5 centimeters. Okay. All right. Then we're just going to go like so. And do that. And do that. And then I've got 2 flags the same. Okay. Now it's just a matter of putting it together. Okay. So on my original card, I'm not sure if you noticed, these pieces underneath are not straight, but this piece here is. Okay. So I've got my gold one to go on first, and then my greeny coloured one. And I'm going to go like so. Okay, so I'll put a little bit of adhesive along the middle of this one, because I don't want to stick it to my red yet. Okay, because I want to stick some ribbon in. Now, how do I do my bows? What did I forget? I forgot to bring my tape with me. Just grabbed my tape, so I've gone echoing off to the other side of the room. And I'm back. Okay, so just my tear tape. Now, see here where they're actually joining? That's where I'm going to go. It's going to bring that over and around. I'm not going to pull it too tight because you really don't get to see it, but I need it to anchor my bow. You could tie a bow, you could then move it around wherever you want it, but this, now I've got a little bit of it's a little bit loose. This is the way I like to tie my bows because I find them heaps easier. So see how it's a little bit looser? And I do it quite methodically. Okay, create my bunny ears, as I used to teach my daughters when I was doing shoelaces, over and around and under the bridge. And there you go, I have a bow. Okay, and the beauty about this bow is if I grab both of my bunnies that I just called them, I can drag them across to that side, or if I want them on that side, I can drag them all the way across there. So it doesn't matter where you tie your bow, but it gives you more movement with it. I'm actually going to leave this one a bit bigger. And because I've left it tied to my spool, that's our nice white crinkled seam binding ribbon. Because I've left it tied to our spool, then I'm not wasting as much. So as you can see, I'm just going to cut this little tiny bit off here with my scissors. I've cut too much paper, so they're not overly ideal for cutting that. And now I can stick this down. Okay. We don't want it straight, but we want it fairly central. Done. Okay, what we do want straight is this baby. And it's going to have a little bit of adhesive on the back. No rhyme nor reason as to how I do my adhesive, but I don't want my bow stuck under it. I want it in the middle, but slightly up a bit. Stick that baby down, and then I have to work out where my strawberries are going. Now, my leaves are a little bit higher than my original leaves. I'm going to stick a leaf out the side here, and I've got that spare leaf. Just stick it up there, and I've got my flowers. I do want a flower that goes up here, and then I've got to put a flower under there just to break up that greenery from those leaves a bit. And I might stick another one down here. Now, I'll aim for where all those goes, but you watch. They won't end up in exactly the same spot, because now I'll look at them and I think, okay, so peel those off. You two are getting dimensionals and you guys are going flat. So flat. Probably a bit too much adhesive under him, so he can share with this guy. Okay. And that one is going about there. Put the flowers on last. My dimensionals are hiding here. Now, what I did was I'm going to stick the first strawberry on. I'm going to use 2 dimensionals to stick this one on. Who ends up with these bits all over the place? I know I do. I mean all over the place. So I'm sticking that first strawberry on there, which means I can stick this flower down. And I can put a little bit of adhesive. Now, did you see where that one's going to land? And it's only going to sit half on those bits, so I don't want any adhesive under this part, because this adhesive doesn't dry as such. It remains tacky, for want of a better word. So it remains a little bit sticky. So if you put it in an envelope and it's tacky, it's going to stick to your envelope. This strawberry is going to sit at the front as such, and it's going to sit on top of that strawberry there. So because of the dimensionals under these guys, that part of my strawberry, so from here across, doesn't need a dimensional. So I just want to put 2 on these bits, just so that because that other strawberry is going to support it. Because I didn't want it 2 dimensionals high. I just want it 1 dimensional high. Okay. I sort of want to bring it off that piece just a little bit there. This flower doesn't want to play nice. A little bit under there, and I'm actually going to stick it just there, because I'm going to force that ribbon tail to sit just because I want them both under there. Right. How does that look? Okay, now, good, what a mess. Okay, we'll just clean up a little bit. Now, so I've got my crinkled seam binding ribbon, I've got my strawberries. Another thing that I'm gonna use, I've got in here, these little guys. This is my little, I took it, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I took all of this embellishing kit out of its packet, and I've just popped it into one of our cases, just so that it makes it easier for me to use them. Okay, it's all part of the suite that the Expressions Ink Designer Series papers from. I'm going to use some of these guys because they're all pretty. Look, they're all got all different colours. Okay. And we'll stick one there. I like to do my gemmy bits or bling in. I don't want anything doing the same job. So I'm not going to put that there because they're doing the same job. I'm going to put it beside it because, again, it's doing the same job. I want them to be scattered. Don't want necessarily a proper perfect triangle. I like to use odd numbers. It's just more appealing to my eye. If I wanted to add another one, I could add it close here and it would still work. Or I could add 2 here, it would still work. But 3 seems to be my go-to number, 3 or 5, depending on the size and depending on how far I want them to spread. So that there is my card for you. I'll just ignore that little piece there and just stick my fingers on it. How's that? 1 card, 1 envelope. And I don't think I was too slow. I'll pop all of the, if you check out my blog, there'll be a link below the video. I'll pop all of my measurements for my pieces of Designer Series paper and the cardstock that I've used, just so that you can actually see what the measurements are if you want to make something similar. All right. And how cute is that? And I think that screamed a summer card perfectly. So there, ta-da. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you next time.